These are things which may be turned on or turned off or configured or reconfigured based upon compliance, security, or IT needs. And then finally, user-centric capabilities. How do I deal with sharing? How do I deal with collaboration and discovery? These, we think, are all attributes that combined create a content services platform. And it is worth noting that none of these are actually things which you are using yet. What's important about the platform is what we can bake in on top of it. So when we look on top of a content services platform, we're thinking about content experiences. And for us, that's about understanding a couple of things. First and foremost, as you might expect, applications. What are the applications that come from Microsoft? Things like SharePoint and OneDrive and Office, or from some of our partners who can sit on top of a content services platform, consume the content, and present it up to folks. Secondarily is devices. And obviously, accessing content on a traditional PC or even a phone or old hat. But you want to make sure that the platform has capabilities that allow it to start to be relevant in an era of new devices. As you know, we're kind of at the beginning of the HoloLens era, and there are some fascinating white papers out there about the next evolution in content consumption, which is really about devices like Alexa and related voice things. If you look at generational moves, the generation behind the millennials, the single most important thing that they decide is if they talk to Alexa and they're working on a paper for school, if Alexa can answer the question. And so the question, what really that comes down to is, does your content all the way over there on the storage layer, does it have a capability of being able to be surfaced throughout the platform in a way that devices that didn't exist when the document was originally written can still interrogate it and provide a meaningful experience of that back to the person? So taken as a whole, that's how we see an ideal content services platform working, and one that we're still aspiring to, but I think we tack closer and closer to it every year.
Awesome. And obviously, Chris may talk to Alexa, but I talk to Cortana. So the other piece that we want to make sure we talk about is, traditionally content services, or ECM, has been thought of separately from enterprise file sync and share or collaborative content platforms like OneDrive. And if you have a traditional ECM system, you are probably now being approached by your ECM vendor that, hey, you need to come buy their new EFSS tool, their new enterprise file sync and share tool, or buy one from their partner or buy one from a third party. Not only does that increase your cost, but it also creates, user hassles like, oh, did I store that document in my ECM system or did I store that in my EFSS system? And I'm going and searching in multiple places, so 2 places to search is just madness from our point of view. The other thing is most of those systems lack governance. They lack e-discovery capabilities. They lack retention capabilities and so forth. So you're paying extra for something that doesn't have all the capabilities of your core content services platform. And lastly, the more places you strew your documents and content around, the more attack area you have. So if you're going to get attacked, there's more places you have to secure, there's more things you have to worry about, and so forth. So we think that the idea of having a separate system for sync and share that's outside of your content services or ECM system really doesn't make any sense, and that's why we provide SharePoint and OneDrive together as an integrated set of capabilities. So with that, I think it's time to dig into the next phase here. Let's talk about creating, sharing, and discovering. So, we talked about this at the beginning, Office integration and having just a great experience in whatever tool you're using to author and create content. Now, that may not be just in Office. That may be scanning documents, which we'll show you here in a little bit. You need to be able to organize that content with content types. You want to be able to integrate that with other things. So Chris will talk about in a little bit kind of this idea of the building blocks of the intranet. Having just a bunch of documents without a nice interface to expose those documents through pages, through news, through communication sites and so forth is not super useful. You want to have that integrated there. You want it to be easy to share things. You obviously want to be able to pull in data from any system, any source. Okay, so I think we're going to switch and do a little capture demo for you here.
Sure thing.
All right.
So we're definitely in a stage where we think capture is sort of evolving. By the way, you're about to figure out the password for my demo iPhone. Capture has been evolving, building on top of long-established patterns of how you feed up giant document scanners and ingest them and turn them into images, to being able to also do things that are more flexible. And for us, Office Lens we see as being a fundamental way that documents are ingested or captured or imported on the fly, because people are creating content in all sorts of new ways. They discover it in documents, or they may see business cards or photos or whiteboards. So here, a very simple example. This is using the Office Lens tool, which is available for all the major mobile platforms. And I can pick up a document here, such as the Ignite schedule. And you'll notice I'm kind of sitting at a funny angle right here. And Office Lens will automatically capture that and straighten it out and give me a chance to do something with it. And if I say I'm done, it's going to ask me, what do I want to do to save this? And if I say I want to save the document, it will understands, because I am logged into my account, how do I want to save this? Well, I can save a copy of it to OneDrive, and it's going to pass that over right now.
Your phone is making noise.
Yes, my phone is making noise.
Put your phones on stun, people, including presenters.
Yes.
I thought maybe the music was coming from your phone. I was like, oh, that's kind of nice.
So we can pick that up. Let's scan that again, sorry.
Go way out.
Yep.
Okay.
I think I'm moving a little funny. Let's try that one again.
You gotta go way out. There. That's worse.
Now let's put that right there.
Yeah, block the white. There you go. The joys of capturing with 6 computers up here.
Oh, hang on. There's got to be a better way. That'll work.
All right, good enough.
So it processes it and asks me where I want to save it. And I can also say I want to save this as a Word document. And it will bring that document into Word format and automatically upload it into my OneDrive. So let's take a look at that over on the OneDrive side. Coming back here on 7.
Yep. There we go.
Great. So here I am inside OneDrive, and you can see by default, all of my Office Lens scans are brought for me over into, conveniently, a folder that sits in the root of my OneDrive called Office Lens. And I can see documents that have been picked up here. And here's a document that we just brought into Word. And voila, I now have a document that's up here in Microsoft Word. And I can do more things with it. There we are, picking up the schedule, which is neat. Let's come back, take a look at it here. So I have a Word document. I could obviously edit it or make further changes to it. But most importantly, once I'm ready to kind of take it beyond the realm of personal storage, screen refresh, the ones that I just scanned, picked up. Well, like that one. I could take this document, and if I was ready to move it over into another area of my digital estate, I could put it somewhere in another folder in OneDrive, but I could also take it and say, this is a document that I want to work with somewhere in one of my SharePoint sites. We're using Microsoft Graph to surface the SharePoint sites that we think that people work with the most, or I can browse for more, but here let's take the info portal. It's going to show me the structure of what's available on the info portal right now, and if I want to take that document and put it over on the info portal, we will see that document in a little while and figure out what I might want to do with it in the SharePoint sets.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. And obviously, this isn't just about scanning documents with your phone and so forth. So we're going to talk a little bit more about intelligence here. So we're going to talk about this idea of classifying images. So you saw when Chris went through that capture process that he, with a little bit of moving around, we took a picture of the document and put it into our digital estate.
Yes.
So hashtag digital estate. But imagine that we want to do something else with that document. Maybe we take a whole bunch of pictures and maybe they're not of documents, and then we need to find them later. So if we switch to my device here, I'm in my OneDrive. I could be in my SharePoint as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm looking for some documents. You can see I've got a lot of content here. I'm looking for some documents, actually some photos that I took on a trip. So I'm going to type in where I went, Iceland. And you're going to see that we come back with a bunch of results. And in fact, none of those documents say anything about Iceland on them. So if I click on one of these and we'll look over at the info, you'll see that this is actually a photo that was taken in Iceland, but nowhere in the metadata does it say the word Iceland. And here, let's actually open these up and have a look. So we'll view that. Picture of a wall, picture of a hotel in Iceland, picture of an extremely long word that I will not try to pronounce in Iceland, actually two very long words. Another picture of the hotel, some street signs, and so forth. So
Ian, is there something special about photos in Iceland that make them findable by text? That's the question because I have not been to Iceland, so I'm guessing it's
just
magic.
that it's that magical.
Yeah.
No, actually what happens is as you take the photos on your phone, there's GPS tagging information that's applied to the metadata inside of the photo. In a JPEG, that's in the EXIF data. And then when you load them into SharePoint or OneDrive, we actually go through and index that and find that information. So we can search, even though it doesn't say Iceland, it just has the GPS location, we can actually then say, hey, here's where that is. What's maybe more interesting, though, is, yeah, I found some pictures of Iceland. Imagine if I had a whole trip's worth of pictures and just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pictures here. And I'm looking for maybe not just Iceland, but I'm looking for a sign that I saw in Iceland. So we'll search for Iceland sign. And what do you know? We get one result that comes back. We click on that. And sure enough, it's signs in Iceland. So how do we do that magic? That's actually done by actual computer vision, understanding what the picture is, doing kind of entity identification of that. And it said, hey, these are signs in Iceland. So that's kind of a nice trick that we do, something that you get as part of SharePoint and OneDrive. And then last but not least, so we can identify shapes and so forth. The last thing that we can do is we can also do something like, let's search for Iceland air. And you may remember that when I did that, there was a particular photo of a hotel, and that hotel had the word Iceland air on it. We can not just identify entities, shapes and so forth, we can actually grab text out of those photos. Not just printed text like this, but actual photos from signs and so forth. So it's a wonderful set of capabilities that really gets to indexing and organizing your information that we provide for photos and capturing documents and so forth.
Great. Thanks, Ian.
Sure. So, image classification and Office Lens. Continuing on, we're going to get out of the create mode and into kind of coordinating and structuring information. So first and foremost, you need to have some way to organize that data, those documents and so forth. You do that in a library. You can create custom columns, custom metadata, do filtering, all kinds of things to kind of organize your information. You can also, of course, not have the user control that, but IT can specify what should be done there by creating a taxonomy. And then you need a way to do workflows and build custom applications and so forth here as we're going through the process. And for us, that typically means Power Apps and Flow, but that might also mean a business partner, someone like Nintex or K2 that you saw earlier on the slides, or it may be even using our heritage SharePoint workflow capabilities. So key capabilities here, let's talk a little bit more about kind of these building blocks to coordinate and organize your content.
So as you're thinking about the ways to best structure your intranet, as you may have seen in some of the keynotes and sessions we presented yesterday, we've introduced a couple of new building blocks. And I think it's important to understand that these are different, you might think of as kinds of window frames into your information architecture, because the kind of site that we choose to put something on may have some relevance here. Team sites have been kind of the long-standing mainstay for how we build out a SharePoint information architecture. Communication sites were rolled out earlier this year, And as yesterday, as we announced hub sites, which are sites which can act as aggregators of content from sets of team sites and communication sites as well. And we definitely recognize there are still custom applications and classic publishing sites, which represent the 5 major ways that people are structuring the kinds of sites that are available. But I do think it's important to understand how these things lay out in relationship to each other in a sort of implied hierarchy, as well as across the rest of Office 365. So when we look at that information architecture, I think it's first for us to remember that we see hub sites as being central to how all of people navigate around the organization. These are those key information portals, departmental or divisional or whatever matters in your organizational taxonomy, but they're the principal places that people are entering that information architecture. They may integrate with tools like Yammer or Stream. You have the option of being able to tie them out to Office 365 groups. And so if we look laterally, we might be able to move across to some other capabilities in Office 365. But all of that sits on top of SharePoint as the content services layer. SharePoint acts as the content services layer for all of Office 365. If you've got files or documents and you're dealing with them, ultimately on the backside, they're getting into a SharePoint library somewhere. One level down are communication sites. Again, these are permanent points that people are using to anchor their information architecture, to disseminate information to broad groups of people. They sit on top of SharePoint libraries as well. They integrate with some of the other Office 365 capabilities like Yammer, like Stream, etc. And then we get to team sites. Team sites themselves may be either permanent or temporary, right? So that obviously there are team sites that exist for departments like mine, which we have in perpetuity. And then there are team sites that my team will set up for things like, Ignite 2017. And we'll work on a project for a time period, and then hopefully we'll move on from it.
But those tend to exist in perpetuity also, right? I mean,
but
no one likes to clean up after themselves.
But you tend not to live in them forever.
Yeah, for sure.
And there are capabilities that that are out there that allow you to expire content after a period of time. But we're distinguishing between those two uses of team sites. Again, sitting on top of SharePoint libraries, but it's important to understand that there is a real lateral move across an Office 365 group with team sites. Because as you move horizontally, you may be moving to content inside of things like Microsoft Teams, or in Planner, or any of the other capabilities for Office 365 groups. And that sits down at the team site layer, again, sitting on top of SharePoint. OneDrive sits over on the side. OneDrive is able to not only have its own sets of files for your personal storage, but it is the experience that you use to get to files that sit anywhere inside of this hierarchy. So any document that lives inside of a SharePoint library or inside of a OneDrive library is fair game for you to access through OneDrive, whether it sits at the lowest level team site or at a top level hub site portal in your organization.
And that's obviously across the web, across mobile apps, across our sync client, one single place to go to get to all your content. We think people tend to like that.
And then finally, for personalized viewfinding across all of this is the SharePoint homepage experience. The SharePoint homepage experience also aggregates information using Microsoft Graph from all of the elements that sit below it. So activity and files and news, as they sit, all come up and are surfaced at SharePoint Home. So those that we see are the key building blocks and how they relate to each other for an information architecture or as digital estate.
Digital estate.
Inside of SharePoint.
Can't have a real estate, so I have a digital estate.
Yes.
An AR estate.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about capacity. So one of the things that we've always talked about is organizations, large organizations, tend to have a lot of content. And SharePoint has grown over the years to allow you to store more and more of that content. So our current kind of guidelines for folks is 30 million objects in a library, 25 terabytes in a site collection, 15 gigs for the maximum file size. That's across, of course, both SharePoint and OneDrive. And maybe the biggest number here, 12.5 exabytes in a single tenant. Exabyte is 1,000 petabytes. Petabyte is 1,000 terabytes.
I have no idea how big an exabyte is.
There you go. We had someone come by the booth, actually, that said they had like 8 zettabytes, and we were like, I don't think there's that much information in the world. And if there is, I don't know where you're storing it. So I think he might have meant petabytes, not zettabytes. Anyway, but maybe the best one, something that we're pretty proud of. So, you know, from our point of view, from what we know at least, there may be some secret cache somewhere in the US government of all of our recorded information, but the largest that we're aware of is a repository that stores 500 billion documents. That's 500 billion documents, run by a bunch of the large banks. But SharePoint actually can store up to 30 trillion documents in a single tenant. So for those in the room that maybe have been told over the years by competitors to Microsoft that, oh, you need to buy our product because SharePoint just doesn't scale, that is absolutely, positively not true. SharePoint will scale to 60 times the world's largest ECM repository that's known to at least man today.
Right.
In addition to that, from a scalability point of view, let's talk about the number of objects you can have in a library.
So Ian, how long have you been working with SharePoint?
Well, I've been at Microsoft for a year, but working with SharePoint since the early 2000s. Yeah, I used to be a competitor, but now I'm on the good side.
And, well, I've been working with SharePoint for a little more than a year.
Yep.
Sometimes I think, looking at my Bostonian friends, a lot more than a year. How are we doing in Boston?
Time goes by fast in Boston.
So how many items can you have? Did you say you could have in a list or a library?
30 million. We just said it on the last slide, 30 million there. We've circled it here, 30 million.
Now, have you ever heard that sometimes you can't have 30 million items in a library? Is there any other limit you've ever heard before?
Well, you know, maybe some people that used to work for other vendors used to tell people, and their vendor used to tell people that that limit was 5,000. Right. That you could only store 5,000 documents in a SharePoint library because otherwise your ice cream would fall on the floor and you would be really sad.
Right. So to make the service run, for a long time we've had something called the list view threshold. So anytime you ask a question of SharePoint and the answer results in more than 5,000 items, you get the digital equivalent of answer hazy, try again later. The sad ice cream cone on the floor. If you've seen this before, I mean, there is at least a sense of humor, although you're not, you may not be in good humor despite the presence of ice cream on the screen.
I never find it funny. Good humor, I love it.
Right.
See what he did there?
Yep. So a capability that we talked about in the keynote yesterday and that we've been exploring throughout the week is something we're calling predictive indexing. So with predictive indexing, we've greatly expanded what the size of a corpus that you can use to build an index. Indexes are the key to how we can unlock ever and ever larger capacities inside SharePoint. But the catch is, sometimes you don't have a good handle on how big your estate is going to get as you're laying down the foundation. The advantage of predictive indexing is we are able in the service to watch user behavior behind the scenes, and as people are sorting or building views, once you cross into about 2,000 items, we will automatically add the indexes that the service thinks that you need to be able to predict future needs down the road. We also have introduced abilities to be very smart about queries and paging in the modern user experience so that if I'm doing sorts and filters inside of modern, I'm able to get to that full capacity of SharePoint. Right now, auto-indexing will kick in between 2,500 and 20,000 items, and that 20,000 items is not a fixed limit. We are trying to, at one level, make sure that we don't overwhelm our indexers as we're turning this feature on. We will be raising the bar on that over time to get to progressively higher and higher numbers. We don't think you should really have to think very hard. If you have 1 million items, you should be able to just put, 1 million items into SharePoint.
Exactly, and work with them just like if you had 100 items.
So 30 million items is the capacity. We encourage you to use the modern experience because that is going to give users the best way of moving through those ever larger sets. It's probably also worth knowing that if you are mapping a migration or some sort of behavior where you expect to rapidly bring a lot of items, tens of thousands of items, into a SharePoint library, you're never going to have that inflection point where you're stopping around 5,000 items and users are setting up views and sorts, and then you keep going. So for situations like that, the best practice is to make sure that you're setting up indexes appropriately inside the library before you bring in that giant set that's in there. We'll take a look at that here in just a minute. The other capability that works really closely with it is something we introduced earlier this year called the filters pane. The filters pane is there to surface hierarchical metadata navigation, which has been supported in the product in classic mode for some time, as well as being able to let you drill into other columns. We're using Microsoft Graph to, if you've never even configured the filters pane, to guess at the top 4 columns that we think would be most useful to you to filter on. Dates when it was last modified, what the primary metadata columns that you've added have been. But you can also choose other ones that you want to filter on and add them permanently to the pane most often. People are taking pictures of the screen. I'll keep
File
3,
types and so
2, 1.
We'll show you live in just a second.
Okay.
Yep.
So let's take a look at this live. So,
Switch your...
intelligent indexing, I want to see one thing here first.
While you're doing that,
Yep.
how many libraries on the site?
How many libraries on a site? That's the question.
I think it is 5,000 libraries per site, I think.
You have a lot.
Yes. And up to 500,000 site collections per tenant.
Here,
Okay.
we need to show them.
Yeah, I'm going to get to this one. Okay, so here I am in, let me get to my strategy library. A couple of things I wanted to show here. Strategy and planning. So the first thing I wanted to show here is we have a couple of libraries in this site. I go to site contents. Wrong screen.
That's my screen.
Your
Yep.
screen. There we go. Thank you. Okay, here we are on site contents. Man, gee.
It's collateral, right?
We're in the wrong collateral library. Hang on. Let's sift this out again. Ah, I know what the problem is. There it is. Okay. So we have a couple of tenants we're using, and here's one. Let me just call it the site contents page in this. And one of the things we want you to note is the size of this collateral library up here. This is a 1 million document library. We go in right there. We can see we have 1 million documents. If I look at the indexes that are there behind the scenes, go into the settings in this library, we'll get the reminder up at the top of the screen that we're way over the list view threshold of 5,000 items, a reminder that you should use indexes on this. And if we look at the index columns that are out there, we can see location and modified have already been set up for us on the way up. Because when we built this library, to be fair, we stopped at about 10,000 items and made sure that we had some user action to generate automatic indexes so we'd be able to work with this library. And so the end result is if I start just dragging through this 1 million item library, I'm not using any filters on it. If I go down to the bottom of the page, we're going to just keep bumping and running. Yep. We're going to keep looking forward and grabbing content for us as we go.
Woo!
Nice. You're allowed to
1 million
cheer for that.
documents.
Let's get back up to the top. And here we are at the location column, and million items. Let it sort this in descending order. And there we go. Instantly sorts a million items for us, and we're able to, again, bump and run our way all the way through a really large pool of documents. So that is part of the magic about how automatic indexing works for us. If we wanted to do more with the filters pane, we can open up the filters pane right here. And it's going to show us automatically things like modified date or the locations that are available to me. And I could choose to drill into these and then further modify my search to help me drill into just the documents that I wanted to show. Okay.
So, in closing, up to 30 million in a library, up to 30 trillion in a tenant. Please don't put 30 trillion in a library. All right. So, continuing on here.
There you go.
Talk about modern doc libraries. So, what Chris was in was a modern doc library, of course. So, first of all, we want to give you a great view, right? We don't want people to just have to see the little columns and rows and so forth. So we give you this nice thumbnail-centric view right out of the box. We also provide a information panel. You saw me looking at that earlier when I was looking at the Iceland demo. Again, same experience, whether you're in SharePoint or OneDrive, same platform under the covers. Nice thumbnails and so forth. Anybody here over the course of the week, how many file formats we can view and do thumbnails for? There we go. 270 plus. Really something that we love because it didn't used to be like that. We used to do like 10, basically right. Office files and PDFs. But now, bring us your files, we'll make them work.
You're a great audience. If you see me later on tonight, I'd be happy, and we're near a place, I'll happy to buy anyone ice cream who asks just for that. And hopefully it won't wind up falling on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. And then, last but not least, we've made it really easy, as Chris was showing, to make it so you can move and copy files around inside of your library. And maybe the best thing about these modern libraries, in addition to the fact that you can stuff them with lots of content, is that you can also have them available wherever you go on your PC through Files on Demand. So this is something that, you typically don't have in an ECM system, is direct access right from your PC to these files. So I'm back in the same site that Chris was in. I'm not going to go to the million document one, just for expedience. I'm going to browse some documents here. You're going to see some views that we're going to talk about in a little bit. But you see I've got a few documents out here. And I'm going to click on the sync button. And I'm going to sync that content to my machine. Edge is being helpful in protecting me to make sure I wanted to sync or to switch apps. You saw OneDrive flash on the screen, and now that content is available for me on my PC. Now, the interesting thing about this is that content, you saw there were quite a lot of documents there. If I click here, you'll see that we have Files on Demand enabled. Now, you've seen Files on Demand, I'm sure, over the course of the last few days working with OneDrive, but it also works with SharePoint. And so what this means is you see that we have all these documents here that are on my machine. And if I come to the SharePoint library that I just synced, this info portal place, and this is the Office Lens document that Chris was actually just scanning here, you'll see all these documents that are here on my machine, and they have a little cloud icon next to them. If I wanted to, I could grab one of these and just double click and open it up. It's going to launch Word. It's going to stream it down from the server, so I don't have to have all the documents on my machine taking up space. If you have million item libraries, you maybe don't want a million documents sitting on your machine. That might run out of space for you. So here's a copy of that document. And in addition to that, you'll see that when I double-clicked it, it got a little check mark next to it. That document is now cached on my machine. And if I start to run out of hard drive space, it will be automatically freed up. Or I can manually right-click and come down here and say free up space, and we'll put it back in the cloud. Now, while it's on my machine, it's still in sync. So if I make changes to it or anything like that, they get synchronized back to SharePoint. Imagine that I'm getting on an airplane and I'm going to go on a little world tour here. I'm going to need all my financial reports for all the different regions. So I'm going to right click on all of those and say always keep on my device. So now I'll have access. offline access to them. They will not be removed if I start to run out of hard drive space. You see we've got the little dark green check mark on those documents. And it's just a great way to have access to your enterprise content, all the stuff in your content services system. The last thing that I'll show you is that this content doesn't take any space on my machine. So if I actually come and let's free up all this space, we're going to get rid of all of these documents here, say free up space. If I go up a level, now that they're all just living in the cloud, you see, if we were to add up these numbers over here on the side, we'd have maybe 7, 8 megabytes worth of content. But if I right click and I say properties on that folder, actually 10 megabytes of content, 9.77. The actual size on disk, 0 bytes, right? So wonderful, wonderful, wonderful way to have all your enterprise content available to your users for their libraries and so forth. You can sync multiples of these. Just a wonderful innovation here from a content management point of view. So back to our charts, Chris. Let's talk a little bit about workflow and what you can do there.
So just a couple of quick tips on document management. We're going to look at Flow here in just a second, but obviously Flow is our newer, because it's been out for more than a year now, orchestration engine for being able to automate personal processes as well as team and organizational processes. So Flow understands automatically how to connect to and from document libraries. One great thing that we give you as a template out of the box is the ability to automatically save email attachments, maybe every one that you get, or things that match certain rules, to a given document library or to your OneDrive. Another quick tip I want to offer you is the fact that Microsoft Teams gives us yet another way to route documents into SharePoint libraries. Every team channel has an email address, and anything that gets emailed to that environment is going to be copied into the corresponding folder that matches the email address for that Teams channel. So in looking at structured information in a document library, building on the capacity that we talked about and the structures of navigability is something that we're introducing right now this week called attention views. Attention views are dealing with the problem that at scale there may be lots and lots and lots of information that requires some sort of action on your part. In our initial rollout for this, we are finding places where there is required metadata that is missing on a column. We give you the ability to highlight those fields for you in the list view, or the library view rather, to give you a notification at the top menu bar inside the command that you can see so that something's missing, and then drill into a specific view where you can just focus your attention on what's out there. We're going to take a look at attention views in just a second.
Actually, right now.
Yep.
So let's do that. So back to my machine. We're on the right machine, yes. So as Chris mentioned, first and foremost, with all the amazing column formatting and highlighting capabilities, you'll see in this library that I've been working in that I have a few documents that are missing some required information. You'll also see a little indicator up here at the top right, where a little red dot that says, hey, something that you should take a look at. And we have this view that says files that need attention. Now, like Chris said, what we're doing in the very first release of this is just highlighting things that have missing required metadata. But you can imagine in the future where we might do things like documents that need an approval, documents that you've had checked out for too long, like for months or years and you forgot about, documents that maybe are coming up for disposition, retention's gonna kick in and those documents will be deleted soon. All kinds of ways for you to see what content needs your attention. So we've now narrowed this down to just the ones that are missing information. I'm going to click on one of these, and you'll see down here that it says this file is missing required information. The region wasn't filled in when we added it. So let's come and just say that is for the EU. Notice that that will go away and say resolve. Let's do another one, and we're going to say, yep, that one's also missing information. Come down here and say that one's for Asia Pac. You can also very, very soon, we didn't quite make it for Ignite, but you'll be able to multi-select and choose multiple documents and do updates to them there as well to resolve all that information. But as I go through this, you'll now see if I refresh my screen and we filter this down on what requires information, we're just going to have those 4. And I can even do things like combine the attention view with the filtering capabilities. So I'd say, show me just the ones that I've modified. I'm acting as Jason today, and now we've narrowed that down to just Jason. So some really great capabilities. You can again imagine if you've got 30 million objects in your library, that you maybe don't have time to scroll through that list and figure out which ones have required metadata missing or what have you. You can jump into your attention view and do that. So great stuff.
So another related capability that we're announcing this week is the send for review flow. This is something which is being turned on out of the box for all document libraries without your needing to build a custom flow and attach it to every library in your information architecture. This is going to use Flow's ability to have the new launch panel to say, I have a document and I want to send it to someone to have them review it. We're going to use Flow to track the entire process. I can go into any of the Flow consoles, as well as have the current status of that process be reflected back in a custom column that sits inside of the document library. And let's take a look at that one.
Seven, Chris.
What?
Yes.
7. Okay, so here I am in my legal document library. And I have a contract here, say, for Denver legislative codes. And if I want to send this for review, the panel is going to come up. It's going to ask me who should review this. Put in an email address.
Demos B.
Yep.
Okay. This is G.
Okay. The world of tenants.
Yep. Too many
Please
demo
take
tenants.
a look. And we run the flow. So right now, by the way, this document library is in tiles view. Let me take it back into a more standard view here. And you'll see that we have a custom column here that says review status. So I can see this document that I just sent over for review is currently pending. This sending Jason, in this case, an email where he can pick this up and see that an approval request. And if I just jump over quickly to Ian's computer,
we're going to see the notification from Microsoft Flow. That is not my computer. That's your phone. I'm 6. Phone is 8.
trying to go logical,
Yep.
left to right.
Didn't happen. It came in order of who got here first this morning. which is order of who went to the AvePoint party last night and who didn't.
Or who went to Silver Fox to get our deck scrubbed.
Yeah, there's that too. There's that too. So you see here in my email, I've gotten a notification from Flow using inline approval capabilities. I'm going to just say that this is approved, and I'm going to say I love Denver, and say submit, and that document has now been approved. If we switch back to Chris's computer here, here's 7, good man.
And if we refresh this, can take a couple of seconds, but it should pick up. It will send me an email when this finishes processing. I'm not going to linger on this. It can take a minute or two for the flow to finish executing, but I'll be notified that this document has come forward.
Awesome.
Okay. Here's something you probably haven't seen before. The Word SharePoint Properties panel, or the Word SPPP, as we've been calling it internally. This is closing a gap that we've had for a little while that lets me, inside of Word itself, get to all of the document metadata that I might want to edit right inside of my authoring platform. We're going to take a look at this capability in just a second here in the context of also how we can move through document libraries with custom navigation. So for that, I'm going to jump back to my machine.
Yep, and don't close that because that now is approved.
Look at that.
Just highlight or hover over it so that folks can see. There we go.
Right there. Okay, it's approved.
Document's approved.
Denver legislative codes. Yay, review has been approved.
Yep.
Okay.
Word.
So here we are in the information portal. And a couple of things I wanted to show you here. First, if we look at the document library along with this portal, again, we can see this document library. We've got an attention view that's lit up. It's telling us that certain fields are missing. If I wanted to drill into the attention view again, it'll show me just the 3 documents that were already missing, as well as that Office Lens doc, which we imported about 40 minutes ago, and which I moved over to the information portal. When I moved it, obviously, I never put any metadata in, so it's here, and it's flagging it for me to do something with it. Let's go pick that up. And I can come right here and add the value there, but I'm not going to. Let's open this document up inside of Word. And to do this, I can take a look at it inside of Word Online. But to do something really crazy, I just want to open it up in Word for Windows.
You're such a rebel.
Yep.
That document has required metadata, Chris. How would you not fill it in when you were right there? It's required.
Yeah.
So jump into Word. Word. That's Word Online.
I know. I was just babysitting at the party last night. I wasn't doing anything else. Okay, let's bring this up into Word. Open Word 2016.
There we go.
Okay,
there you go.
so here we are. And if I hit View up on the ribbon, you'll see over here I now have something called Properties. When I click the Properties pane, restart this.
Come on, baby. Should have restarted Word. No whammies. Word's not happy. This is why I don't have this on my machine yet.
There it is.
Hey!
Okay, went to another document. But so this is another document in the library, the annual financial report. I can see I can have a title. And I'm exposing a managed metadata column that's there. So let me take this, and I can surface, it's telling me I can't leave it blank. Here's my term set for geographies. And let's say this is for European Union and UK, so let's tag this back to EU, UK. We're okay. And when I save this document, it instantly updates what's back in the document library. Properties are still loading there, so let's come back. So in the information portal, let's go back to a standard view.
Nope, there you go.
All documents. So the annual financial report for EU and UK, these are columns that we can update right there. And so we have them in the library, but I think it's important to understand that there's other ways that we can consume properties for documents other than just having to look at them one by one. So one thing I've done inside of this is I've created some structured navigation here around those tags. So if I look at that EU UK page here, we've built a little bit of Chrome around this, showing you where Europe is in case you had any questions. And we also have a filtered document view here that just shows me the documents that are tagged with EU and the UK. So if I went to a different geography page here, such as North America, I'm going to get a different set of documents over there. So let's go back to the EU page, and we'll show you how that's built. So if I go into edit mode on this page, this web part is what's called the highlighted content web part. So if that's where this is right now, the highlighted content web part. Now I've already configured this, and let's take a look at how it's configured. Right now, this part is configured to point to a document library on this site. And I've set a filter on this based on the columns that are out there. So what I tell this part is I want to look for any document type that's out there, and I want to build a filter. And I can build a filter on lots of things. What's in the title, when was it changed, who did it, but in this case I'm looking for column names. And the column name needs to be a managed property, So that means I need to have indexed the document library at least once after I've added the metadata definition to it. And here I can say that the region equals EU UK. So any metadata property that I have for the library is fair game for me being able to filter it using the highlighted content web part. In this way, I can create portals which a user can navigate, and each bit of navigation is going to trigger a custom search without their needing to remember to go search for it in each place. So we think this is a powerful way to be able to surface storefronts of information that may sit anywhere in your information architecture. Pretty cool.
Very cool.
Okay.
All right, back to 6. Or 5, sorry, Chris. Now you got me.
I was on 5.
Good man. Good
Okay.
man. All right, so continuing on here, so we've talked about creating content, managing, coordinating, and so forth. Let's talk a little bit about protection. We'll advance here. I think we're running a little behind. I know you said we'd run out of time. So kind of our 5 core tenets here. You can read all about these in our security white paper at the top that you see. First and foremost is platform security. So whether that's data center security or encrypting your content or what have you. The next piece is about secure access and managing sharing, know who accesses what when, what they did, auditing that, making sure that we don't leak information using things like data loss prevention. Next one is awareness and insights. So again, kind of tracking activity, looking for suspicious things that may happen, applying governance to it. So retention capabilities, e-discovery, making it that you can actually trust the system. And last but not least is that idea of compliance and trust. So, complying with regulations and laws and different industry standards and so forth to make sure that you're maintaining people's privacy and that you're storing data in the right location. If you're, based in the EU, you want to store your data in the EU, and having transparency around that as well. So let's talk a little bit about content retention in Office 365, and I'm going to hand that back to Chris to dig into retention.
So I'm going to walk you through these capabilities live in just a second, but to just set the stage, the idea of content retention in Office 365 is driven by data governance labels. The process of working with data governance labels has a couple of steps. First, inside of the Security and Compliance Center, we need to build these labels. Now, these are just tags. I can just use them as flags in a document, or I can specify policies to be associated with the label. Those policies can be based on retention, or they can even be something which is declarative that says this document is a record, meaning it can't be changed so long as it is so tagged. In setting those labels up, again, as I said, we can show this is for retention. How long do I want to retain it? Do I want to automatically delete it at the end of the period? Or do I want to leave it out there and I'll let someone go in and manually delete it? Or ask someone to review it? A new capability that we're going to be looking at here in just a bit is also the what we call event-based retention, where I can create a class of information, and then if something happens, I can trigger a new event period on it and just take a subset of that information and apply the policy to it. But all of this is driven through the Security and Compliance Center, and these labels can be applied automatically. They can be applied automatically based, as we'll see, upon either keywords in the document or a document's sensitive information types, or we can do them interactively, because any label can also be exposed to a document library as a metadata column. Here we see it as a column inside of the legal library we were just looking at, and I can pick a specific label that I've published interactively or based on code or other events that are going on in the library. It's also worth noting, how many of you are still running SharePoint on premises? Okay, so that the core capabilities that we've built for the cloud, we continue to bring back into the on-premises version. If you were running SharePoint 2016, the core capabilities for setting up retention and deletion policies, as well as data loss prevention, are all there for you. Now, we're not going to have time to go into setting that up here today, but I will quickly say, if you haven't done this before, there is a site template called a Compliance Policy Center. You create a new site collection in SharePoint 2016 of type Compliance Policy Center, and inside of that, you can build policies for document deletion or for data loss prevention. And again, it's based on the same notions of keywords as well as the 82 sensitive document types that we run through SharePoint on premises as well as SharePoint Online. And so that is being done for consistency and being able to bring that forward from the cloud into what we're doing on premises. So let's take a look at event-based retention inside of document libraries.
And while you switch, Chris, I'll just point out that, obviously one of the big advantages here over a traditional kind of siloed or standalone ECM system is that when you set this up, as you'll see Chris do, you can do this for all your content in Office 365. So not just what's in SharePoint, but OneDrive and Outlook Exchange and so forth. So all your content, instead of doing it in a silo and then having to like replicate and syndicate that to other places. So again, makes it simpler. So
in Security and Compliance Center, there's a couple of classification services that we can consume. We've had for a while sensitive information types these are baked into the service. There are 82 sets of known fingerprints, if you will, where we look for certain patterns. For example, a U.S. Social Security number. Not every 9-digit number is a Social Security number, but 3-2-4 increases the likelihood that it is. And the words Social Security number immediately before it in the text.
That's a good hint.
I'm not a bright man, but even I can figure out this might be PII. So we have these baked into the service. You also have the ability to create an XML specification and upload your own sensitive information types. So if you have unique fingerprints for your organization, such as a common account number pattern, or other words that are important to uniquely flag something, you can add these and consume them in as sensitive information types. Most of the retention that we're talking about is driven through labels. Here are some of the labels I've already built in this environment. We're going to look at them momentarily. And one of the things that I have out there is the idea, let's create a new label. So this is going to be called Ignite Material. And it's going to ask me, do I just want to have this out there as a classification, or do I want it to actually do something? And if I say I want it to actually do something, that means how long do I want to keep it? And here I'm saying I want to keep it, it's for a time period or forever. And so I could say, this means I want to keep it for 10 days. And after 10 days, I can automatically delete the content, or I can do nothing, leave it out there. So it'll be kept around. It is editable, but it can't be deleted for 10 days. Or I can trigger a disposition review and say at the end of it, I want to send a note to Adam Harmit's login saying he's got content, he is about to be expired. It's up to him to decide whether to sustain it or allow it to be deleted. So right now we're going to do this, delete it automatically. And I can base that on when it was created, last modified, labeled, or an event. And event-based retention is something that's brand new for us that we announced earlier this week. The idea of event-based retention is you create a class of documents, and I'm able to then trigger certain events that happen inside of it that I might want to do some more with. So what I want to show you how that works is I want to look at a label that is already set up. It's probably worth noting that when I build a label, there is a separate step I go through, which is sometimes people get a little confused about what we call a label policy. A label policy is the distribution engine that pushes the label out to specific endpoints. If I look at this label policy, this is saying I want to take a set of labels, and you have a choice of making them show up everywhere or to be more granular. And in this case, I have a set of labels that relate to mergers and acquisitions, and I'm pushing them out to one specific SharePoint site and to Office 365 groups. So you can apply them everywhere or to a very narrow range of locations. That publication process can take up to 24 hours, so that's why we have to do some pre-work on this to make sure that these labels are out there in the first place. Once those labels are out there, I can also automatically apply them to content. And if I pick a label that I want to automatically apply, say the invoice label, it's previously built to delete things after 3 years, it asks me for conditions. And so, as I mentioned before, the conditions right now are any of the sensitive information types or keywords. And that's how I'm going to protect this information. So that's how I can define these labels. Where they get applied is a little bit different. So this is a document library where I've already published that set of mergers and acquisition labels that are out there. And when I look at any of the documents that are out here, like this Tailspin project, I can see one of the metadata columns that's already been applied here is the BFY Organics lawsuit. Let's pick a different document, the litware content. You can see there's no label on this. And so when I browse to it, it's going to show me what the name of the label is and also give me a reminder about what this is. And I can see there's a lawsuit-related one for 5 years, and this thing called employee files that says retain for 1 day. That's a label that we built yesterday. We pushed it out. And so I now have something called an employee file label that sits and is out there on the document, waiting for something else. Now, that label was already built as something that was going to be triggered by an event. So until an event happens, this document's just going to sit out there in perpetuity. It's going to be retained. The idea of an event is driven here inside data governance. So let's suppose that all of the documents that are employee files relate to specific employees. And we have a rule that says if someone's left the company, we want to get rid of all their material in 24 hours. We're under a legal requirement. I'm not sure why we would have this as a legal requirement, but saying that they just have to be purged, they're going to be forgotten.
Some overzealous GDPR legislation or something.
Yeah, there are reasons why some of these things come up. So an event has happened. Let's call this event...
Ian was fired. Oh, Jason was fired.
Jason.
That's better. That's better. We like that one.
Bye-bye. Okay? What is this related to? And it's saying, what are some of the things that are out there? I've already established a list of event types, saying it's related to employee activity. And it's going to ask me inside of Exchange or inside of SharePoint, how do I want to identify this? And this is based on the idea that I already have established a metadata column, colon, in this case, the employee ID is the user ID. It's going to ask me when did the event occur. It's got to be either now or some date in the future. And when I say this, it's going to go out, it's going to look for anything that is tied to that event policy, which is tied to employee files. It's going to look for anything that matches the keyword pair that I gave it. It's going to enforce the retention period on it, which says get rid of it in 24 hours. So the idea of event-based retention, you also may think of it as event-based deletion.
Yep.
Because it's basically a way we can, retention labels are what we use to make sure at the end of it we're enforcing a deletion policy. So a lot more on this. Our buddies Nishan and Deepak have been doing a number of sessions on this throughout the week, but there'll be more material available online as well as through the rest of the sessions.
Yep. And we are, as predicted, running out of time. 4 minutes left to talk about Harvest. I think we're going to have to skip these demos maybe. So,
yep.
Again, we talked about this idea of content kind of having a life cycle. And we believe instead of it just going to its grave and being destroyed, that oftentimes you're going to reuse that content. And one of the great ways to do that is through TAP. So inside of Microsoft Word, for instance, maybe I'm authoring a new document, and I need to pull in an asset from one of my other documents that I have in my content services environment. I can just tap inside of Microsoft Word, say I want to insert something from another document, go and type in what I'm looking for. It will bring back assets for me that I can grab and put into my existing document that I'm working on, the new document that I'm working on. So really, really, really powerful stuff. Of course, lots of other ways that you can harvest and reuse your content. We will maybe jump ahead just quickly to that one. I think that's a key one for the audience here. So we've talked about kind of that virtuous cycle, and we wanted to make sure that as you go back to your organization and you say, hey, we really don't need to be using that other system anymore. We can use SharePoint for all of our content services. It's got great retention. It scales to 30 trillion documents. That's, a couple more than we have in our organization. That, you also have the backing of the industry analysts to tell you, where Microsoft stands there on the Forrester Wave. And while we don't have it yet, we have seen a preview, and we are excited for you to see the new Gartner report on content services that will be coming out in a few weeks. So really, really, really exciting stuff. So let's wrap up
So to get
here.
to the home stretch, just a couple of, two things that we want to kind of leave you with. First and foremost, this week we've released a new white paper which summarizes all of our capabilities across Office 365 in content services or enterprise content management. And you can get to that right now at aka.ms/ODSP, that's OneDrive SharePoint -CSWP, Content Services White Paper. It's about 15 or 16 pages. It took us a day or two to write.
Yeah, just a couple.
Again, it's there to answer the question, I didn't know SharePoint could do all of that. So if you have naysayers in your organization and you're trying to build a case for is SharePoint high capacity, does it have all of the capabilities, we go in much more depth in the paper to things that we can get to in a 1-hour session today. That's all there. That said, I want to kind of leave you, and Ian and I will stick around for questions to talk a little bit about Hershey's. Most of us know Hershey's. It is an international consumer food manufacturer that they obviously are known for chocolate as well as a number of other goods. And they've been engaged in a digital transformation using Microsoft technologies for the last couple of years. One of their fundamental tools is something called the Conch. The Conch is their intranet, and one of the ways that they use it is they use the Conch to centralize the creation of creative briefs. For example, if they decide that they want Hershey's to suggest an international brand for the next 12 months, they'll create an idea paper around that, and then they use the Conch to take these master assets and distribute them across an extranet to all of the different stakeholders who need to look at it to be able to work on an ad campaign or packaging or print. So we think Hershey's is a really exciting organization. We'll leave you with that, and we're going to play the video, and then Ian and I will stick around for questions afterwards.
I think they should look at the video from the link that we gave them. Let's go right to the Q&A.
When I tell people that I work for the Hershey Company,
Thank you.
I
Thank
sit
you very
back
much, everybody.
and I bask in their